People, deluded. If you're not going to take anything away from my videos, people, make sure you download the OneFootball app. It's a terrific application developed by the guys over at the OneFootball Network. Make sure you visit my description for more of that. If you don't want to do that, go on the OneFootball Network website. It's a terrific application, people. I can't just say that enough, and I'm not just saying that for the sake of it. Why I like it? It allows me to stay on top of every bit of information there is in regards to football. It doesn't matter if it's transfer speculation, results, fixtures, manager talking points, player talking points. They have everything covered, and the sheer velocity and in-depth of some of the content, you can't put a price on it, people. The one big feature I like out of everything, when it comes to transfers, they've got it on top. They tell you exactly where the rumour or the information was first brought out, more or less. And it tells you how the strength of the rumour. And it also tells you what that could mean for the team moving forward with fellow supporting articles. It is the #1 application for the general football fan. And in fact, not even the general football fan, the honest football fan. The fan that really loves football. If you really love football, you'll download the OneFootball app, people. Because for me, it is the best on the market. Like I said, link is in the description. Visit their website. Link is in the description. Link is in the description. Link is in the description. People, I don't want you lot to do yourself a disservice, and you lot are the real followers because you follow me. Make sure you download the OneFootball app. People, deluded, I'm out. People, deluded, I'm back again. Fridays equals Q&A day, so without further ado, let me crack on with that. Thank you very much for your questions, people. You know they're always valued. Without you lot, it can't go on. And I don't want to waste any more of your time. So let me carry on. If you're wondering why I'm out of breath, because I know I never take a breath, ironically. I was running up the stairs, people, man. I'm blowing, man. I feel like Mustafi after playing Hazard at Stamford Bridge. But in all seriousness, let's crack on, people. 30 questions. I'm obviously going to leave out, there's always a couple silly people being silly. But thank you for the questions via YouTube, people. The communities tab, if you don't know. Emmanuel's asked, why do you believe that Xhaka is so trusted by our current and previous managers despite the whole high-profile mistakes and lack of mobility? Yeah, he has made some high-profile mistakes. Yes, he's probably not switched on 9 times out of 10. And yeah, the lack of mobility, I can't disagree with what you're saying. All I can do is say, I don't know myself, but he must be showing something for Emery and Wenger, like you acknowledged to both previously play him. And to be fair, yes, he does have lapses. He's got a good attitude. I do think he's a technically decent footballer, so he does have some qualities. If they deem his qualities are so vital to the side, then they will play him. There has been times where I believe he could be left out, my guy, but admittedly, there's been times when Xhaka's been out of the side and I've been like, yo, Xhaka might have been able to do this and stuff. Perhaps if the team was a bit more solid defensively, we'd be able to mask some of Xhaka's shortcomings and focus on what he excels at. But that's for another day. But I'm not too sure. I don't know, my guy, man. I'd have to hear Wenger and Emery specifically claim such. But yeah. FIFA Videos has asked, do you think Stan Kroenke should buy another club, for example, in the Dutch league, and then send our academy players there on loan? Yeah, why not, man? It would give us a place to really run the rule over players, and it would help us get around work permits. So why not, man? That would be decent if that's what Stan Kroenke would be down for. Would help increase the chances of particular, you know, the players we've bought in the last few years, probably going back a number of years, but Samuel Galindo, Wellington Silva, but Pedro Buffalo, to a degree, Joel Campbell and Vela. You know, particularly the foreign players. If we can find them a place in Holland where they can get around the work permits things, then it will be good for us, man. And obviously, a team like Vitesse would be good because Mason Mount is playing for Chelsea right now in the Premier League. It looks like Lampard's going to trust him, and he did his thing at Derby. But people need to remember he was playing for Vitesse in Holland in a top league and also getting experience within the Europa League. I'm not saying that's the be-all and end-all, but that's definitely better than under-23s football. And it makes you wonder potential. I'm not saying we should do a Chelsea and have 30 million players out on loan at Vitesse, but it makes you wonder, what could Arsenal benefit from that? Players that are not quite ready, we could go and give them first team football, really. Could that have helped playing in a top, having that sort of thing in a top league? Could that have potentially have kept a couple of promising young players that went out on loan? Who knows? And I'm being devil's advocate there. You've also asked me, is Arsenal's fan base decreasing? No, I think that's a silly question, dude. Like every Premier League team, it's rising and rising, regardless of where the club is. So yeah. Bob's asked, DG, out of the Arsenal squad, who do you think is in for a surprisingly good season and who do you think could drop off? In terms of drop off, I'm not too sure. In terms of surprisingly good season, that's a good question. Trying to think of the outsiders. I'm going to count Joe Willock in that. Everyone knew he was a good young player, but I don't think anybody thought he'd be starting right now in the Premier League and these sort of things. So he could have if you can claim that. I'll include Reece Nelson because many fans don't really. Some fans have concerns about him. So good question. I'm trying to think. I'm gonna say Maitland-Niles as well. You know, because I want him to prove some people wrong. That's a good question. Surprisingly good season. It's until it happens, my guy. Maybe Callum Chambers if he's called, depending on how often he's called upon and things like that. I would like to see that. I would like to see it from Kolasinac, to be fair, because a lot of people, myself included, are on his back about his shortcomings defensively. I'd love to see him become solid in that regards and challenge Turney to see who could start, or potentially you could have both of them on the field in some capacity at the same time. I mean, it gives Emery options to work with, especially closing out games. And in terms of dropping off, I'm not too sure, man. I hope I don't know. I hope no one drops off. I hope Aubameyang keeps scoring goals, Laka keeps scoring goals. I hope Pepe does his thing and whatnot. So yeah, man. Thanks for your question, Bob. Though diabolical. I mean, water's wet, man. This guy's always in my comments asking questions. Big up yourself, man. He's always here without fail. It's appreciated, like I said at the start. DG, who do you think have the best academy in England? You got to say between Chelsea and City, but I want to pay. I don't know for best and stuff, but I think you got to pay homage to what Derby are doing right now. I'd say pay homage to Charlton because a lot of their players get poached off and go off to do good things. So yeah, I'll probably say City and Chelsea, to be honest with you, my guy. But there's a lot of smaller clubs, Luton, for example, now. A lot of smaller clubs that are doing their thing and not really getting praise and whatnot. So I'd probably say they're the ones that came to mind. THC's asked, as a manager, DG, who would you prefer more? A defensive world-class fullback like Marcelo or a world-class attacking fullback like... I butchered your question. Let me start again. I should really start the whole video again. As a manager, DG, who would you prefer? A more world-class defensive fullback like Maldini or a more defensive or more attacking fullback like Marcelo? You've actually said world-class in both questions. I've butchered your question. It's the way you've pressed it. I ain't got my glasses. But it's a difficult one because first and foremost, people have to defend. Let's move away from the names you've said. No disrespect, my guy, because they're both good in their own rights. But it depends. First and foremost, a defender has to be able to defend. I feel with the modern game, you've got to be able to attack. I feel... I prefer a more attacking fullback, people. My gut is telling me defensive, but I prefer a more attacking fullback because I believe that's where the game is. So generally, that would be my answer, my guy. Snipe Dots asked, would you agree with Emery? Would you agree with how Emery is slowly introducing Pepe into our team, or what do you feel about him? I can't understand what you said, my guy here, man. I think you asked me how do I feel about Emery slowly introducing Pepe into our team, and I guess Emery's doing what he's doing. He's done it with Leno, he's done it with Torreira, didn't do it with Guendouzi. I mean, he's barely had a pre-season with the club. He played in the African Cup of Nations. I fully trust what the club are doing with blooding him in slowly. I'm not seeing how he's like week in, week out. He's still adapting. I know with the price tag and with our dying want for attacking players and players that can help us, there's a degree of impatience, but we'll see how it goes, my guy. Apologies, man. I need my glasses, like I said. But Sparv, I believe that says, what football team did you play for? Deluded. I played for Edmonton All Stars and Norseman, my guy, and I actually spent a year at Waltham Abbey, and yeah, that's for another day with their gaffer. I mean, playing guys left wing and that, clearly a right back, mate. But moving on, Joe Proctor's asked, what Joe Proctor, I can't just about to answer that question. That's some silliness, my guy, man. That's not PG enough. Moving on, Shirag's asked, forgive me, my guy, man. You said, do you think our aim should be competing with Manchester United for 4th/5th or Spurs for 3rd? I feel top 4, we should be competing for top 4 just regardless. But my guy, if it means finishing first, which we're clearly not going to do, obviously second is Liverpool's. But if Liverpool don't do what they do, it's up for debate. I believe we've just got to claim a place, people. I swear at a point last season, we technically could have finished as high as third. So if it's similar to that, we need to get that. Obviously, fourth is fourth. I believe we should just be targeting the top four right now. Of course, Spurs have a better togetherness than us. If you don't want to say necessarily individuals, man to a man. Liverpool and City clearly have better teams than us. Chelsea, United, and us, I believe we're in the melting pot. So I believe what we need to do right now is not look at what other clubs are doing, people. We just need to assess what we're doing and focus on getting out of the festive period in the new year, mathematically in and amongst the pack for that place. So in terms of competing with other teams, we just need top four, my guy, in whatever capacity. Bella's asked, should we play Chambers at right back? I suppose it could be an option, but I feel if Chambers should play, it should be at centre half or even in central midfield where he's played for Fulham. But other than that, I don't know, man. I don't feel... Obviously, he's a better option than Mustafi there, but Chambers, it's almost like he's hung out to dry when he's at right back. I'm sure he will play to the best of his abilities if he is played out there and whatnot, but I feel we should just be keeping him centrally. Asger's asked, do you see Olayinka or Burton getting some game time this year? And who do you think is first in line? Not a clue in regards to who's first in line, not a clue, my guy. I feel both of them gave a good account of themselves within pre-season. So they both have a good chance if Emery still remembers them and remembers he can rely upon them. Who knows? It'll be up to them, my guy. And you've also asked, do you think we should add a senior left winger next season, keeping in mind we have Nelson, Martinelli, Pepe, Saka and Mkhitaryan that all play on the wings? Mkhitaryan, for me, I'd be looking to move him on. The other young players, they're still young and they can all play on either flank as well as some other positions. I'd say no right now. I'd say let's see how the season pans out and then assess that. I mean, if someone quality becomes available, then I'm all for that, my guys. So, but right now, I'd probably want to concern myself with centre half and maybe some other positions. I actually would love a central midfielder, a box-to-box, someone similar to Torreira that can break down play and things like that, my guy. Marble Halls has asked, should we aim for 40 goals? Should we aim for 40 goals as a goals against total? Do you truly care about finishing above Spurs? I don't really. How we won the FA Cup in 2017 is an example of when they finished second. I always want to finish above Spurs first and foremost, as Spurs fans want to do us. And I guess, yeah, we should be aiming for something similar to that, my guy, man. So that's a decent question, and thank you for that. Carney, I've already answered your question in my preview about who I believe should be starting. D Solos asked, salute my general. Shout out to you, man, Chargy. What do you think Emery will play How do you think Emery will play Ozil this season? I'm so tired of just butchering questions. How will Emery use Ozil? Well, you can only really use him in the cam position or the central base position, in my opinion. Clearly, I mean, last season you saw at a point him and Mkhitaryan both playing on the flanks, so anything's possible. But you'd be inclined to believe Ozil's going to play a secondary role here. I mean, it looks like Joe's going to get chances. Ceballos is taking it. Obviously, there's a lot of football to be played and Ozil could still be called upon, but with the loan signing of Ceballos for a year, it looks like that creative sort of thing is solved. And again, there'll be games Ceballos and whatever won't be at it, so I don't want to completely rule Ozil out, but I'd probably say a secondary figure, but still used within that position. And to be fair, I would like him to be a rotation option and used within the squad if he earns the right, because we've got Pepe, we've got Lacazette, we've got Aubameyang also behind him, Ceballos on the pitch at the same time. It could be quite crazy, people. I mean, there's a lot of ballers on the field, and I think Ozil's got qualities to move us forward, that help us move forward. I just don't feel similar to Xhaka to a degree. These guys should be starting game in, game out. They can be used in the squad, and I've got a lot of time for Ozil, but it's just not quite there to the standard I would like it for him to be week in, week out. His quality is not in doubt, as we can all see, people. So, yeah. Mizzy's asked, if you could rename Arsenal, what would you call it? And you can't use gunners or cannons. I wouldn't rename Arsenal anything, my guy. So, yeah. And you've said, P.S., would you like to have your own setup like Turkish's supporters club on your own channel? Anyways, like I said, keep up the good works, them, Jenna. Can't stop your thing, man. Thanks for that, man, my guy. Who knows, man? Of course, I always want to expand them. Why not? Why wouldn't I like to? It's not his thing, but why wouldn't I like to, rather than always give my opinions, present in a different way or probe people for questions? You get it, people, because it's all about development and stuff. And I actually hate talking about football now, really. I want to hear you lot's opinions. So why not, my guy, man? So cracking on, Reese has asked, if Emery doesn't get top 4 this season, does he deserve to be sacked? If so, who would you replace him with? No clue who to replace him with, but he doesn't have a leg to stand on, really, if he doesn't get top 4. It all depends in the manner of failing to qualify for top 4 people. But if he fails to get top 4, then he probably will get sacked, or should get sacked, better yet. Apologies, people, I need to open the window. It's boiling in here. Oh, man. People, I can't lie, it's mad hot. When you got the lights on and all of these sort of things, it was distracting me, man. But, cracking on. Devon's asked, do you think VAR will kill the atmosphere in the game? Maybe to a degree, but I think to a degree, I think in short the answer to that is yes, my guy. But by the same token, if they get the decisions, I won't say right first time. I don't know any other way of structuring the sentence, but if they decrease the waiting times of uncertainty, we've all watched VAR in the World Cup and in Europe and even in the Premier League this season, the waiting times and sometimes the decisions that shouldn't be on. I think they've got to find. I don't feel that they can keep. I feel the ref has to ref the game, but I don't feel they can keep having 1 minute the ref in the game and then the robot or whatever and whatnot. Or you've got the VAR, but it's human interpretation. I don't know how it will be formed, but they need to find a way of. It's either a thing where the referee refs the game and it's at his purely, rightly or wrongly, it's at his discretion or her discretion whether they want to review a decision or go to the VAR or not. Or it's similar to, I don't know it to be true, but cricket and all of that, and rugby potentially, whatever them things are, where when their technology says it's a decision, because then it's done. Because I do think there's too much waiting time. And again, if it is like that, it's going to be harsh, which I don't necessarily agree with. What goal was it? Sterling's nipple must have been offside, people. Like, it's almost like, come on, like, we want the right decisions, but if a guy's ear is offside, if his left toe is offside, then it shouldn't be a thing. So seeing is believing. I'm not too sure, Devon, man, but I'm keen to see what he's saying, man. Tavin's asked, do you know who Erling Haaland is? He's that young Norwegian lad who scored like 9 goals at the under-21s World Cup, or like a double hat-trick or whatever, and he was wanted by United and whatnot. LK's asked, do you think Arsenal should buy back Daniel Martin? I would always welcome him back, but I wouldn't say it's a dying need right now. Flashing Knights has asked, DG, would you sell any of our strikers if big money comes in for them, such as 75 million? I mean, we could talk. I personally potentially wouldn't at this moment in time, because if, like, again, people can look at Aubameyang's age and they could say he's on the brink of declining potentially and say 75 million, cool. But by the same logic, if you get that 75 million, people, and you want a striker that's going to replace all the goals, replace the goals, people, you're going to be paying that money either way. No disrespect to Lukaku, but you get it, people. He had a bit of a goal-scoring pedigree, and United, rightly or wrongly, they had to pay 70-odd million for him. Do you get it? So we would have to spend that money instantly. So it all depends what option we'd have lined up in terms of a replacement. Omar's asked, do you think we can go for the title this season, or is it too soon? It's too soon, my guy. First and foremost, we've got to learn to keep back-to-back clean sheets, and then we can talk. Roshane's asked, what do you think we'll need for a certified top 4 finish? An example, a centre-half. First and foremost, be able to defend consistently and keep clean sheets consistently and be proactive in this regards. That will help us get it. I think the squad is there to get top 4 people, really and truly. I would love another centre-half in January, someone with a bit of longevity and whatnot. But that's just me. Obviously, I'm always welcome to super players and whatnot, and players that are of a certain quality that, if they become available, you make sure they come to the club. So thanks for your questions via YouTube, people. And now it's time for the Twitter ones. Julius has asked, what do you think of VAR? I kind of answered this, but because you're always asking questions, I don't want to do you a disservice. I think it can be a good thing, but right now there's a lot of teething problems. Max has asked, what is your all-time non-Arsenal 5-a-side team? Good question, unusual one. Keeper in his prime, Casillas for me. 5 players, yeah. So Casillas, Ronaldinho. I was gonna say Thierry Henry, but you said no. So Casillas, Ronaldinho, R9, Lionel Messi, Neymar. That would be it, man. That would be it. Probably Iniesta rotate on the bench and whatnot. Well, that sounds so bad saying that about Iniesta, but probably get Iniesta in there. But that's a good question, man. That's a very good question. You should have allowed me and made it 7 aside. Emmanuel's asked, if we get Zaha, how would you fit him into the team? He's either got to play on the left-hand side or behind the striker for me in some sort of role like that. Or he could play on the right. Well, he can play everywhere, really. It'd be a good option, man. But you'd like to think the left wing potentially could be his. Someone would have to be left out. But imagine Pepe on the right, Zaha on the left, potentially Ceballos in that 10 role, assuming this happened in January, Aubameyang up front, or Lacazette up front, or whatever people. There'd be good options to have, but I don't feel we're going to go back for Zaha as much as I would welcome him here. Puma's asked, top 6 and top 3 related teams for this season. If you're asking me to predict the Premier League positions, I think City will win the league. And I'm not too sure for the top 6. I think it will stay the same. And I think the top 3 will probably be Liverpool and City. I hope it's Arsenal, but I think it'll be Spurs again. It's gonna, by that logic, it'll end up being Chelsea now. Not that I don't want Chelsea to succeed more than Spurs. You don't know how the rivalry thing works. Tongue twisted there. Eagles asked, what do you think about Sheffield United's overlapping centre halves? Have you seen that tactic before? No, I haven't seen that tactic before, my guy. But I mean, I read it, and it was interesting by Chris Wilder what he was saying. And if that's how he likes to play, that's how he likes to play, man. And it's a matter of time before we see some overlapping fullbacks in terms of swapping each sides and overlapping down the swapped flank and whatnot, man. So yeah, that's you. KB's asked, what would your all-time starting lineup at Arsenal be? David Seaman in goal, Sol Campbell and Tony Adams at centre half. Right back, I'm gonna go Sagne, Left back, Ashley Cole. 3-man mid, 4-3-3. 3-man midfield, Vieira. It's tough. Vieira, you know what? Vieira, Santi Cazorla, just because of how Santi plays. Vieira, Santi Cazorla, and Gilberto Silva in that midfield. Nah. Santi and Vieira. Dennis Bergkamp is going to play the 10 for me, people. On the right. On the left, I'm going to go with Alexis Sanchez. Up front, Thierry Henry. And on the right-hand side, I'm going to go with Robert Perez. He's just going to have to do it for me for the team. That would be it, my guy, man. That's a tough one, though. And there's many other players I've probably missed out. I should really go 4-4-2, to be fair with you. It'd be much easier. There was a lot of players I missed out that were quite good that I wish I didn't. Have I got any more questions? I do believe I had some questions that I emailed myself, people. Apologies. Here we go. Like I said, DMN9's asked, Canute or Upamecano? They're both good, but I will be happy with either one, but I would slightly prefer to get Canute, my guy. And Big Imperials asked, what do you think of Torreira, Ceballos and Ozil as a midfield 3? Ballers, probably a bit lightweight in terms of the defensive aspects, because I know Ceballos is going to track back Ozil the same to a degree and Torreira, but I'm just not convinced on it. But I would like to play in terms of keeping the ball, in terms of attacking situations. They'd be there, because I think people underestimate Torreira's ability to play make to a degree as well. I think Chai's asked, it's to cut off your name, but you've asked, is Ceballos the next Santi Cazorla? I hope he's here long enough to say that, but we know he's only here on a 1-year loan. And I think let's just let him play and whatnot, people, because his loan spell could turn to tatters. He could have a good game against Liverpool, and in the next 10-15 games he's on the par. I don't want that to happen, but these are things that keep you balanced in life. But on that note, I haven't got any more questions, people. So yeah, people, deluded, it's boiling. I'm gonna go get ice cream. I'm out.